Welcome to Rules of Villainy, episode 54, where three new trading card game players quest and challenge their way to the competitive top tables and discuss their opinions on Disney's Lorcana. This evening we'll be covering the latest news in Lorcana, answering your questions, and going over the latest developments in the metagame. I'm Villain Vince, joined as always by my two co-hosts, Villain Andy and the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad. How's it going tonight, gentlemen?
How are you doing?
Stressed.
Care to share why?
Well, you probably, if you're listening, or even if you're watching, you can probably sort of understand why. Because for the past, hour, gentlemen, I've been trying to figure out how to get my audio working. We've had audio problems again. Woohoo!
Classic.
Yay!
Classic.
It's already been a long day, and now it's been a long night as well.
It's fine. I'll figure it out. I've got a week to figure it out yet again.
How's Andy?
Stressed.
I'm doing okay. My audio's working fine. Thanks for asking, Brad.
You're welcome. Mine is too.
It's nice. It must be nice.
Yeah.
It is late, but I'm ready to talk some Disney Lorcana and the happenings in the Disney Lorcana community.
Speaking of
There's a lot to talk about.
Should we get into some Underworld news?
I think we should.
All right. Well, tickets went on sale this past Wednesday. Well, if you're listening, they actually went on sale today because, we're speaking to you from the past. For the first DLCs of the second season of Disney's Lorcana competitive play. The demand was sky high and tickets quickly sold out for Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and Bologna, Italy. As events. The Bologna event through Fanfinity seemed to go okay, about as it did the last time. However, on this side of the pond, they did not go so well. There were technical issues with pastime games, and tickets were released about an hour before they were supposed to. Oh no! And the website crashed, and Pastimes moved it to Eventbrite, same system that was used last year, for the 11 a.m. release. But they did that at 11:57, 58, maybe even 59 Central Time here. The situation caused some in the community to sing the mob song, but we villains hope you were invited to the ball. In other news, Alex from Lumineer of Fortune took home the title champion belt at the inaugural Jackson Warren Memorial Tournament hosted by Impact Gaming Center this past weekend. And ROV team member Grapes Andy took home first place at Impact Gaming Center's Reign of Jafar Set Championship. We congratulate both of those players for their victories and the many Lumineers who came out to both events. The stream of both events can be found on our YouTube channel, as well as the final matches with a review of the decks from the mayor of Lorcana himself, Brad, and links to those videos can be found in the description. Additionally, coming very, very soon here, Villain Andy, Villainous Kirsten, and myself, along with several ROV team members, will be at GenCon from July 31st to August 3rd. Don't be shy, come say hi. We look forward to meeting and hanging out with our community, and we just have some villainous swag, and we might have some villainous swag, I should say, for those that we meet.
So what the hell happened today, Andy? It was a kind of a disaster.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of probably saw that coming here. I definitely think maybe some oversold promises from past times. I hope they learn their lesson. For me, it just really seemed like a very ambitious goal to try and have your, WordPress plugin basically try and run this thing that we saw last year, Eventbrite, a company dedicated to doing this. It's like Ticketmaster, right? Do you sell your tickets with Ticketmaster, or do you try and sell the Taylor Swift tickets with ticket company .us or whatever, like the small store kind of thing.
Yeah, sure.
Just they don't have the infrastructure to do it. So
what baffles me is that it went, when everything just went into a complete dumpster, they went right back at the very last second to Eventbrite, and it seemed to go just fine as it did. You know, of course, a lot of people were left out, as Greg even said in the Discord today, that they understand the demand is high. It kind of sucks that the cap is seemingly so low for this event when the demand is so high for something that is I got into this because it's Disney. They had to expect, like, Disney fans are going to want to do this, let alone the competitive TCG player sphere that already exists, right? And to see, them just go back to Eventbrite when all else failed, and it kind of worked. Just like we saw everybody in the Discord after the link was shared start sharing their success stories after an hour of it coming out too soon and struggling to get through the website that was just crashing all around. Yeah, it was a headache. I actually feel guilty about getting a badge in the manner that I did. I saw that everybody else was freaking out because they were dropped early.
I don't think you should feel guilty about it.
I'm just joking. I'm joking.
I didn't hear what you said, but
I said you should feel guilty, and your ticket is less valid, Brad. In fact,
and here I'm saying you shouldn't feel.
Yeah, I get it.
I'm saying you shouldn't feel guilty, but
you know my nature, though, right? A lot of people took off work for this and took time to do this, and then it just got the rug pulled underneath them. Erroneously. I don't think this was intentional at all, but I think accidents happen. People figured out ways. I don't know. I'm just speculating how it got dropped early, but
I ultimately just think like one of the things is that we should first address is, like, I think it's valid for people to feel upset and feel disappointed and frustrated. And there's a lot of compounding factors here. There's the fact that we didn't, like Worlds, we were told was going to be a public event and it wasn't. And then we got the news that, DLCs were coming, and we only get 3 in North America and in Europe. So it feels like there are less, and there are geographically less distributed. And we've talked about this. And then, like, to compound that, then to have this event where folks have been in the Lorecast to say, hey, like, what are the details, and like, how is this going to work? Are you sure it's going to work? And to be kind of rest assured that all of that's going to be there. And so I can understand the frustration. And honestly, I share that frustration. I am pretty frustrated myself, even though, like Brad, I was successful in getting a badge. But I was successful in getting a badge because I happened to be at the right time, at the right place to see them switch to Eventbrite and then click on it, like right at like 11 o'clock, and was able to like easily, and it was super simple, super easy. And the website was down for hours. But what I have to say is being disappointed is different from being toxic in the community. And this is a Disney Lorcana game. It's supposed to be the happiest game on earth here. And we do that by, pushing Ravensburger and Disney and Pastimes to do better for the future. And I'm optimistic of that in some ways, and maybe pessimistic in some ways as well. But I think, there's a place to give constructive criticism, and then, to like, attack employees, and, be, like you were talking, the experience that you had, Brad, with Pastimes, and, the trying to get confirmation that you actually did get it, and how hard those employees are working to try to get through it all and stuff. And
I'm not saying don't be frustrated. The frustration is, what drives criticism, constructive criticism, as Vince said, so that Ravensburger and Pastimes and maybe not Eventbrite, because they weren't the people that were doing this initially, and Disney and whoever else is involved behind the scenes can take that criticism and make this better in the future. But what in the shoes of the people who didn't get them, or get the information that we had on the spot, it really sucks for the people who took time off, the people who aren't on Discord. Discord is not fun. I've had people, new people in our league that game night that I was like, hey, if you check the Discord, and they're like, every time I get on there's just so many messages, can't keep up. You get on the Rules of Villainy Discord, sometimes there's conversations happen in 3 different channels, and you get lost in it, right? So a lot of people didn't see that announcement. I've had people tell me locally they didn't even know it switched to Eventbrite until I sent them the link to get their tickets today, right? And so, and it just sucks all around. And I feel for the employees. I feel for the people who didn't get them. But while I was trying to talk to a pastime employee just to get the confirmation that I couldn't get the website being down, my card being charged, but no email, no way to check on the website, everybody else was dumping in their Discord, and I'm like, this is not the way to do it. Your frustrations are valid, but like, if I didn't get a badge, I would not be one of those people in there just talking the most heinous things at some point. I saw some things today that I was like, you shouldn't even be saying that to anybody in any capacity. It just really, really rude. And it makes me feel bad for the Lorcana community in general. That's like, that's not how we should feel or present ourselves, in these situations. But
and I'm a little concerned because you're listening to this on Friday or Saturday or well past when they did the Lorecast, but we're recording this on Wednesday night before the Lorecast tomorrow. And I can only imagine what that Twitch chat is going to look like.
Said today on the Discord, I was like, they can't cancel it because that would be very bad. But they can't do it and not talk about it either. I think it's going to be a very, I don't know a good word to describe it, but it's going to be something that's going to be very tough. I do not want to be Rochelle and Greg or whoever joins that Lorecast tomorrow or yesterday. And I think it's
so. No matter what, we're going to end up essentially predicting everything we say here is either going to be one way or another, right or wrong, based on like the Lorecast and stuff. But I think let's just try and break it down here and be realistic and reasonable. Some things are very obvious. We should not have tried to do this on Pastime's website. We should have tried to do this on something like Eventbrite from the beginning. Once if we look past that, we probably should have given a little more time after Pastimes crashed and we decided what we were going to do. There was like 1 minute notice basically for the switch to Eventbrite. Easy.
That was just frankly, I think, kind of unacceptable.
Right. And these are easy things to realize in retrospect that were mistakes. I don't think they need to hear it from us necessarily, or as many people are even saying it. But that's really where the room for improvement here is. And then just the other reasonable, I wouldn't say complaints, but suggestions: raising the cap, more people, more locations, more DLCs. We want more, right? So, all of that said, the Lorecast, I think they're just, I think they're just gonna basically say it is what it is, right? I think we saw a message from Tito himself that said, some people were always not going to get tickets, and frankly, it really, really stinks to essentially have this like error on this fumble from Pastimes or whoever fumbled in whatever way, the going early, the switching to Eventbrite at the last second, the making these decisions. Mistakes happen, they were made. It really stinks that you didn't get a ticket because of those, right? Because you were sitting there. We had a friend who was out of town but knew to check in at a specific time, went to the website they were supposed to, saw that there was an error and figured, you know what? There must be tons of people trying to buy tickets, and I missed my chance. But little did they know they needed to actually go to Eventbrite instead. There was no real way to get that information to them. So, but essentially, I think, I think it is what it is. You didn't get tickets this way. If you had gone there and everything worked smoothly like an Eventbrite before for the other DLCs, when people didn't get tickets, that still stinks, right?
Yeah.
The answer there is still to raise the cap on number of people, to have more people because the demand is higher. So make a higher supply. It just,
I think it's a compounding factor, right, Andy? Though it's that compounding factor of the fact that like you can't get into this, and then it's like the answer from Tito or from Greg, is like, hey, some people weren't going to get in. Demand is high, and it's like, yes, we know. We've been saying we want more events. Like we thought we were going to have more events.
Right, but these are the events we've got, right?
And we already know. I understand what you're saying. I totally get it. I'm just saying that the solution that it's like Ravensburger, I don't think has an excuse to be surprised of the reaction of the community towards this, given the fact that all the other DLC sold really, really well.
Yep.
Right.
And we were expecting more to see the reaction when they were, for the North American and European audiences were cut. It's like, yes, we got more DLCs globally, which I think is phenomenal and great, but we got less DLCs in areas where I think people feel they can maybe reasonably travel to.
Right.
And so it goes to the point. It's like, I really do think, and I've been thinking about this throughout the day here, is like, I agree with everything you said, Andy, on pretty much everything, like the ideas they should have done. One thing that I've been thinking about is should they have done a lottery system, much like they've done with the
EQL.
Here's the biggest problem with the lottery system. So for you, Vince, that works great. For Brad, it also works fairly well. For me and Kirsten, it gets a little different, right? What if Kirsten and I both enter in the lottery and only one of us gets a ticket and the other doesn't? Are we gonna not go because does only one of us go? Now here's the next thing. Imagine, our community members, Inkswell and his son. The son gets a ticket, but he doesn't. Now the kid can't go.
That happened to Daniel.
They need a parent to go with them. So, you'd have to find a way. Okay, what about a group? And then you say family. Okay, well, Vince and I mean, we're practically family, right? Like, we share cards and stuff. We eat cake together. Like, we do a weekly podcast. So Vince is in my family. Brad's in my family. If my whole ROV family can't go, we should all win the lottery together, right? It was like in college, we had the dorm lottery, and if one of your friends won, he could bring whatever friends he wanted into that dorm. So
yeah,
it's like that.
The thing to add to that, though, what they could do is just like San Diego Comic-Con. I tried for years with my buddy to get weekend passes to go to Comic-Con. It literally 6 years, and the way they do it is they have you sign up on their website, then get yourself verified on their website, and then you can buy tickets for those verified people. So it eliminates I think people still maybe scalp tickets. I don't know how that works.
GenCon works the same way.
And I know they're trying to avoid people doing that in general, but ideally you get on this verified system, you get in this virtual waiting room, and then they pluck people out one by one, and then you pick who you're buying for, and they have to have verified accounts, and that's it. And then that eliminates the child, the wives, the husbands, the groups that want to go together. You can buy it for up to 3 other people. And I mean, that's as simple as it's got to be. And it just sucks that there's probably holes in it, but San Diego, this my basis, and like Vince said, GenCon, they've been doing that for years. And that's how I got to take 2 of my friends with me to Comic-Con, is because they were verified and I was able to get through. I was one of the few one of the 3 of us that was selected and got to buy for them.
Brad, once you were selected, how long did you have to decide to process your payment and buy the tickets? Did it tell you on there,
10 to 20 minutes maybe?
10 it told you had to make it, sent you an email that said your tickets are available, you're in line, but you have 10 to 20 minutes to check out.
No, that's not how it works.
Usually it's like you got selected.
It's like a queue. It's like a virtual. It's a virtual queue basically system.
Okay.
And so you get assigned a number, and then you get to your cart. And once your tickets are in your cart, you get I don't know. I mean, both GenCon has a system on of how long it takes for you to do it, but those, they won't. Once they're in your cart, they can't be sold from under you.
Yeah.
You're not in a rush.
We don't. You go into the lottery knowing what you're wanting to get, and then you buy it when you get there.
And we don't need to go into the specifics of lottery systems and scalper math and stuff like that. But ultimately, most of these have they're not very good I think is the general answer. Like, typically if you get chosen from a lottery system, you have a period of time where you can buy tickets. And if you're allowed to buy tickets for up to extra people, then what happens is people just go and say, hey, I've got a lottery. I can buy 3 extra tickets, selling these slots for you to be able to buy a DLC ticket through me, right? And now you're scalping those parts of it. And then if you're talking about if you can't do that, like if I'm not allowed to count you guys as my family, now there's an advantage to, basically the guy in front of me got picked from the lottery, but he gets to bring his whole dang family with him. And like, it's just, I got picked, but I can only bring my one family member. And, there's a lot of,
I feel like there's
this.
no system's going to be perfect, but
Right.
I do think the idea of a first come, first serve, 11 a.m. when, especially, I would feel different about this if we had like 6 or 8 DLCs, right? Because you each have an opportunity. We have 3. And so there's an opportunity that like we could get to go to all 3. We've got Milwaukee tickets. We know we're all going to probably try again for at least Indianapolis, if not Richmond.
Right.
And so there's a potential that all 3 of us could get to go 3 times, and then somebody will get to go 0 times. And I think that is a fundamental flaw when you only have 3 DLCs. Like, the answer is really clear to me here is more DLCs. And that was clear, I think, beforehand, but now it's actually like a little bit more crystal clear, like seeing how this is all really kind of played out and stuff. Like, the demand is there, and I really I don't think this is, I know there are a lot of people out there that are upset and are like, I'm going to leave the game, but I will just let Ravensburger know it's like there are new games coming into this space all the time. There is competition out there, and it's like I think the DLCs are great, and you want to capture that excitement and demand and keep it going strong. And I think that the competitive play is the best way for that.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because that's the other thing with all of these mishaps and the way the community as a whole feels right now. We see it here locally. A lot of people here locally are really excited about some upcoming games, including, teammates, and just people we talk to daily, really excited about a game that's coming up. And I'm like, how's Lorcana going to look, in 2 or 3 months? Like, I don't know. Especially when it's rotation hits too. A lot of people are divisive on rotation, and the next set is going to have a lot of reprints in it. A lot of people might jump ship, and I don't want to see that, because we've worked so hard to build this community up. We had 2 amazing events this past weekend, and I would like to keep doing that, So I don't know.
I think, don't close the door on your way out, I guess. Like, that's the far end of the spectrum there. But ultimately, like, this idea that I've seen this a bunch, it's basically these people who are essentially threatening Ravensburger. If I don't get X, if X doesn't happen, if this thing doesn't happen, if you guys don't do this right, if you don't do this next thing the way I like, I'm gone. And I'm just like, to me, it really feels like walking into Walmart and being like, if you don't treat me right as a customer, you will lose me as a customer forever. I will never shop at another Walmart. They're going to be like, bro, this is a Walmart. I don't care. Like, bye.
Yeah. I think there is some of what I hear what you're saying. The only thing I would say is like the TCG space is hyper competitive, and a lot of games do not survive. And just because this has Disney IP and it's a great game does not mean it will succeed. It needs the competitive play support for it.
I think that's
we
irrelevant.
have seen TCGs with awesome IPs beforehand die and then get born again and then die yet again and then
first off,
get born again.
What makes it irrelevant?
IPs, but it's also
what are you talking about? Star Wars is one of the largest IPs in the world, and it's on its like 3rd or 4th TCG now.
yeah, maybe it's not that good of a IP then. Just saying. Anyway,
Wow.
but like, I mean, that's irrelevant to like this idea that you're just saying. Like, it's the same threatening of like, oh, there's other TCGs out there, like new
Not
games
though.
are
I
coming
mean,
out. I'm gonna leave to this other game, and it's
but
just,
that's not that's.
I
But
know that's not what
you're
you're
comparing.
saying, but like,
You're comparing like a mega corporation like Walmart to a trading card game in a very competitive space. Like right now, Disney Lorcana is maybe 4 or 5 of the top like most popular TCGs
probably.
in the world right now. And it's not going in the upward direction. It's been going in the downward direction. Now some of that is because it was so hyper popular at the beginning. There was a lot of hype at the beginning. But it's over the past year it has fallen down. It used to be I think like 3 in the like most volume of sales for trading card games, and it's just it is not it's not the trend line currently isn't necessarily positive.
I think there's more value. There's more numbers than just like volume of sales, so to speak. There's the game being played in a lot of places, and I mean we are spoiled here in St. Louis, but there's a ton of support for Lorcana. I think it's being played in a lot of places compared to a lot of other games out there. But I just don't think like it seems to me like Ravensburger and Disney and this game have a plan and they're going to do it, and they should definitely take advice from the community. But I don't
Do
think
they have a plan?
I think they do. And ultimately, I think part of the problem is us in the community complaining. I mean, the fact that Greg and Rochelle and Coop came on and talked about how, they were they had this plan for next year for the DLCs, for these third party events. And they just said, well, you guys complained enough, so we're just going to give it to you this year. Like, what that does? That causes websites to crash and people to not be able to get tickets because they went on sale an hour early. Like these kinds of rush jobs don't help the situation. So it seems to me when people say, "Oh, you got to look out, there's other games," or I guess that is definitely distinctly different from, "Hey, come play this other game," or "It's so much better at this other game. I'm leaving for this other game," versus what Vince is saying is that you will have competition forever and ever, whether it be the originals or the new ones that come. And so you always have to keep that in mind because you have to keep their attention and keep your user base, your player base. But these like really, really weird, awkward threats of like, if you don't do better, I'm gone, that come from the community in some aspect or another. To me, I just don't really get like I'm not owed anything from Lorcana. If I don't like it, I'll just go play one of those other games, or I'll do something else, or I'll take a break and I'll come back when I sounds more fun or something. Like
I think you raise a good point there. The one counter thing I would say that I'm actually more concerned about, to be more specific, and listen, I want this game to be successful. I love the game. I like playing it. I've been playing it a little bit more now that I've got a little bit more time to do so.
Like once.
But is that what did you say?
So I said like once. I said, so you played it like once?
Ask him how he did tonight.
How'd you do tonight?
No, please don't. Please don't.
No.
Anyway, is that Ravensburger has to also compete for other games in stores too. So they've got to compete for the limited amounts of play space, the limited amounts of shelf space, the limited amounts of play nights that stores have. And in addition to that, for people, it's like, so yeah, I think we've seen some leagues grow, we've seen some leagues contract, We've seen some stores support more. We've seen some stores support less. And I mean, I think there's some just of that natural from the first year.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I what?
How I feel like we've gotten way off the topic of like the ticket sales for DLCs and how the fact that these other games that are coming out and they're competing doesn't really have anything to do with them.
No, I mean, I think it is all connected though. It's all connected
in the sense of the frustration of the players. I leaned into it because I was like we see our teammates being excited about it coming up, and I'm like, are they still going to be playing this in October?
I feel like Ravensburger.
I think you've got to build the excitement. And when you don't build, and when you instead build frustration within the community, you make it much more easy for people to exit the thing. And so I think ultimately that's where we're at. But I think you're right. We've probably said enough here. We should maybe move on to Constituents Corner.
Do you have any last thoughts, Andy? You seem like you're
No, I agree. I agree with Vince. That's a good point. That we should try and brew excitement and not frustration in this. Ultimately. And I think Ravensburger agree. I think they are on the same page as us, right? I think we can all agree on that like they probably get that. Yeah. We don't need to tell them.
Yep. All right. Are we moving on?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Constituents Corner this week. My first question actually came Monday night as I was leaving game night. Jamie, who I hadn't seen in a long time, Jamie and Alec came back. They say hi to everybody. Vince was there. After you left, Vince, Jamie asked me, and this stunned me for a minute, and I thought about it for a while, and I was like, I'm just going to ask you guys on the podcast. She goes, what character in Lord of the Rings does Vince remind you of? I want to know what you guys think. Andy, are you familiar with Tolkien?
Tolkien? What Lord of the Rings?
The author. Okay, he doesn't know Lord of the Rings.
I know Lord of the Rings. It's the most boring movie ever. It's just a bunch of walking.
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Walking.
He's insulted Star Wars.
This guy's watched too much Clerks too.
Dropping your ring off at the jewelers in 3 parts. 28-hour movie trilogy. Probably
I thought long and hard about this.
I knew you were going to say Smeagol. I knew that was coming. My precious. I'm
glad we can bring some levity here with this. I thought it would be really fun, and it was a great segue from a more serious beat. I went with Treebeard. I think it's just because we're always doing beard, because we're doing beard watch. I don't know once you start growing a beard.
You should. I'm curious what the rest of our fan base knows. So let us know in the comments below,
for sure,
or on our Discord.
The reason why she asked is because she didn't tell me who, but she said one of her friends reminds her of this character, and her friend looks like you, but you don't remind her of this character. So we'll ask her, figure out who that character is. But that was the question she brought. Thank you, Jamie, for that really funny question. Our next question comes from Fran. She asked, which villain with a card already printed do we want to see most as a mat, barring ones that have already gotten mats?
So that means that I really want the Hades, the blue Hades.
Infernal
really
Schemer.
But
sure.
Hades already has a playmat, so
sure,
not qualified, right? That's how it works out.
Yep, I guess so. Yeah, that makes sense.
I had 2 options here, which I know I'm usually not a 2 option kind of person here, but I'm gonna say Maleficent Monstrous Dragon,
which we're getting,
which we already have a map for.
Maybe we don't know for sure yet.
They've seen.
It's the set championship playmat next.
But we haven't seen the mat yet, have we?
Yeah, we have.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't have it yet, so I'm counting it. All right. And then,
that's the question: is what do we want to see most?
And then
you haven't seen it.
Prince John.
Oh, okay.
And green Prince John.
Actually, kind of like the red one, the ruby one.
Frady Cat, the new
Frady
one?
Cat. That's funny. Yeah.
So since we're doing 2, I'm gonna say Super Goof, Super Peepo.
That's not a villain.
That's not a villain.
Oh, it has to be a villain.
Yeah.
Oh, true. I misunderstood the question. Well, that's good. My other one, so I only actually had one, was Tamatoa, Enchanted Tamatoa. Happy as a clam.
That's a good one.
That is a playmat. Oh, shiny, so shiny. You have to put foiling on that.
I'm beautiful, baby.
I'm beautiful, baby. I went with the new Enchanted Radigan, or not new, last set, or is it this set? It's last set. The Enchanted Radigan, I think, would be a really cool playmat. And then I went straight to our reveals, either the Taka or I think the John Silver would be a better playmat than the Amethyst Taka that we did.
Phantom Blot would be a good one too.
I thought about that. I looked at it just now. Cool. Yeah, it is really cool. But I think he would just take a small portion of the mat. The rest of it would be the foresty area, which is pretty and dark and
right.
But yep.
Next question.
Cool. From Bent Branch, he asked, what are your guys' thoughts on people possibly switching to Mim Tiny Adversary over Crab when it rotates? And Mim Tiny Adversary has Challenger 1 and gives other characters Challenger +1.
And it's a 2-cost inkable, right?
It's definitely inkable. Where is she?
So this is over
2-cost inkable
Crab?
Challenger 1 and other characters gain Challenger +1. She's a 0/3 quest for 1.
Yeah, so I think the question is kind of like yes and no. Like I think Madam Mim Tiny Adversary is a good card, a good enough card that it can find play, especially post rotation. But I don't think that it will necessarily replace the Crab role in a list. I think that instead will be brought by something like Yolana or Jafar or any of these other characters we've seen that have on play buff strength abilities. Tramp is another one, or even just actions like hypnotic strength or things like that. I think Mim is used in sort of a different scenario.
I think that's right. Yeah, I don't really have anything to add. Actually, I think you pretty much answered it.
It does open up the shift line for that Rhino that we've been very divisive about.
And next question.
All right.
Yeah,
there's only one Rhino that's worth talking about on this podcast.
No, it's just it's one of those things where Crab is so good, right, for its on play and
leave play
from playability, that this just doesn't even come close to filling that role, and it's just so expensive for in order to get somewhere near that, because you'd have to play it and then
3 of them. You have to play 3.
So I just don't think it. I think Andy's right. It's it's a good card, probably a good card that might see play, but in a different role. Next question.
And next one is last one from formerly Martin Carp, now Lorcanados, I guess the evolved form of that fish, asked what not I can't say it. Lorcanados?
Gyarados. It's Lorcanados.
Lorcanados. Okay. What non-Lorcana villain? I don't understand that qualifier. What non-Lorcana villain do you want in the game that currently isn't? And I think it's a tough question.
Means Disney villain.
And also I think most of the villains in Disney proper are already in it. The one that comes to my mind is coming in Whispers of the Well is going to be the Horned King from the Black Cauldron. We know the Black Cauldron's coming. I also want to proactively say I believe the Horned King should very much have a rule of villainy on it. I hope that it does. We haven't had one since set 5. But I think for you guys, if there's not anybody else in the Disney sphere that isn't already in the game, you could look forward up to like Pixar, any of the villains in there that you're excited about as well.
And when the Horned King does have a rule of villainy and you need someone to reveal that card,
I knew you were going to do it.
You know who to ask. Ravensburger, right here. The one, the only, the rules.
We can be reached at rulesofvillainy@gmail.com.
I would just say that when you're thinking about who to give that reveal to, remember the rules of villainy. Get it?
I like
tagline, right? Yeah.
I like it. I like it. I like it.
The episode ends when I hear that.
No, the episode did end, Brad. It's over. We're not recording anymore.
Well, what's your answer? What's your answer, Andy?
Which card is not a villain? I mean, I think the answer has to be like Red Genie Jafar, right? we haven't
Oh,
had
yeah, that's a good one.
Reggie Jafar, and the fact that it wasn't in the Jafar set is honestly like added to that list of blunders that we should all be really, really mad at Ravensburger about.
That and Jafar's rule of villainy. Like, where are they? Like, we
haven't had one in a long
rule,
time. When's the last time we had one?
no
set 5
Jafar,
Scar.
yeah, no
Wow.
Jafar rule of villainy,
Skies.
no
And
Red
Scar
Genie
was like a
Jafar.
common or uncommon. Yeah.
I
insane.
wonder if they were like, this podcast is too popular now, so we can't have any
We're
more
axing
rules of
that.
villainy.
Yeah, we just completely took that over. Vince, did you have an answer?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go into Pixar and I'm gonna say Anton Ego from Ratatouille.
Oh, yes. Very good. That's the reviewer, right? The food critic.
Reviewer.
Yeah. All right.
His ability
That's gonna do it.
0 stars. Opponents' characters lose all strength this turn.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it for the mailbag. If you want your questions answered by the villains, please join our Discord in the Constituents Corner channel. Ask your questions there or hit us up on the socials or the comments below. And back to you, Vince.
All right. Let's get back into the main segment here, which I know you're all excited to talk about, which is Reign of Jafar, set champs, and the metagame currently in Disney Lorcana. We've got a whole bunch of decks here. We've got Steel Song being represented as the top kind of deck here, along with the Ruby Sapphire burn version, and also the Amethyst Sapphire, the Blurple, as it is affectionately known. So, what are we thinking? What have we seen? Brad, you played this weekend. Andy and I were in the casting booth.
Played a lot of Blurple. I played really well all weekend too. I just ran into an unfortunate bricking in round 5 of 6 on Saturday. So I ended up 4-2 on Saturday with it, and I gave Blake his only game loss of the day with it. He was playing a super hyper aggro Amber Steel deck, and I beat him on the draw in game 1, and then in the last 2 the last game I drew all 4 Hades. Yeah, I had all 4 Hades in my hand by like turn 4 or 5, and was like I could not answer his board of like 5 people who were requesting for 2. It was just insane.
Yeah,
but
why are you even playing 4 Hades? That's crazy.
Fault.
I'm joking.
Yeah, your fault. It was one of the divisive things we've had here on the podcast, where you think that I mentioned last week or the week before that I thought 4 was too many. You're like, no, I think you really need that 4th one. And I threw them back in and then saw all 4 of them at the wrong time. And yeah, ultimately 4-2 in a 6-round tournament. But the rest of the day felt really good. I played on stream against Justin, which was a lot of pressure at first, but then got really comfortable. Still lost the game, but with a couple mistakes there at the end. But going into his red blue that we all know pilots very, very well, his Ruby Sapphire items deck, and he told me afterwards, he's like, yeah, on the top end when those items get rolling, you almost never win that matchup, and that's why I started teching in Cusco's and hideaways and stuff for that specific matchup, but. Just, I don't know. Blurple's there. We saw Blurple win a set championship this weekend locally. Chance won one with JDRR's list using his Metafy and everything, taking down a 25-person tournament at the collector store. So the tools are there. The matchup's got to be there too. I go back and forth with Amber Steel. I've had a lot of practice against Kristen's version of it. I did not have a lot of practice against Blake's hyper aggro version of it, but happened to get first game on the draw. Like, okay, I can do this, but my deck has to work for me, and sometimes it just doesn't. So, yeah, that's how I feel with Blurple right now. Like, I need more 1-drops. I need more board presence at the beginning. If you miss that bell package, it's really tough.
Yeah, the graphic I put here that Vince read from that shows like the meta breakdown, the meta share, if you will, from the last week in this current meta. I was actually really surprised to see Blurple at like 10% here, 3rd place. Although, Inkdex does categorize different decks a little weird. But essentially, Steel Song is number 1 and 4. Amber Steel is 1 and 4. Ruby Sapphire is on the list twice. And Blurple is also worth mentioning. So I thought originally we were gonna see a lot more discard, a lot more steel in general, amber steel. From what I heard and what I could gather, there was a lot more ruby sapphire than everyone expected, and a lot less steel in discard than people expected. So I guess it really depends on your locals and your metagame that you played in, but I think it's safe to say that when you go to said champs this weekend, or you're there now, you're probably about to face a amber steel or ruby sapphire opponent. So,
Yep.
what can we do into these opponents? I know for ruby amethyst, which I've been playing quite a bit, it is very, very difficult to beat the ruby sapphire list. Simply just don't go fast enough, and they get to their late game control, and they're able to just sort of outpower you and end up winning that game either sort of instantly with that shark or the items. But Steel Song, great matchup, works great into that, works great into discard. Ruby Amethyst can continue to draw cards. It can also commit characters to the board and help control the board. You play around things like a whole new world and you can be fine. What about Blurple, Brad? Are you which matchup would you rather play, Amber Steel or Ruby Sapphire?
Depends on what version of Ruby Sapphire. If
Or
I'm my
one
current build,
using the other?
what's that?
Is one Ruby Sapphire using the other?
I don't know. The way that my deck is built right now, it's two different ways. Like if I have my Cusco's in there, I want the items one, and I want to try to pop that Maurice's workshop as quickly as possible. If this is where the jank comes in that you're gonna give me trouble for, but I slotted in that 6 slot where I wasn't finding the use for that Ana that everybody's been running. I haven't been getting anything other than ink from her. I decided to put in that 6 cost uninkable Hades. That whenever your other characters get banished, you get 2 lore from them. And quest for 3. Yeah, so when I'm in the manor matchup, like when they're trying to protect their board or just wipe the board and let the manors get all their lore, if I can get 2 or 3, other characters on board when I drop that Hades, I'm getting 4 to 6 lore when they be prepared, and keeping up with the, the lore that the manor's going to get. It's just an idea that I had to try out this week. I haven't done it competitively. I tried it Monday at game night. I tried it tonight against Vince, but he was playing the items build where I needed the Cusco instead. So, and out of the 2 matchups, I have the most practice against Kristen and the Steel Song, and I'm confident going into that one, knowing her deck specifically runs the whole new world, which Justin told her on Monday, I think, to take that out. That every time I play her now, most of the time, I'm just ramping as much as possible because I know that wheel's coming to just refill my hand, and then I have all the high-end ink that I need for multiple characters on board, or the high stuff that I can get out there quickly, like the Hades and stuff for whatever, troublesome cards that she's going to do after the wheel.
What would you play without a whole new? How would you draw cards without a whole new world? Would you go to Dock?
I think it was the Horizon and Dock and stuff like that.
Horizon. Yeah. Amber Steel's
I don't know.
Horizon these days. Holy!
I don't know. I swear. And she and Justin played all night together. And then when I was playing Ron, I heard them talking, and I thought he told her to take the whole new world out, but maybe it was in another context of the conversation.
She does have the Horizon in that build.
I think she runs both, and maybe that's why he told her to take one of them out, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, which version of Ruby Sapphire do you think is better, Andy? Do you think the items variant is better, or do you think the Manor Shark version is better?
I mean, it's hard to say. Like, the items version is definitely the items version will beat the Manor version, I believe, 9 times out of 10. Just the items version feasts on any deck that doesn't go incredibly fast, because it is able to stabilize the board from nearly any state as long as it's like not turn 4 or 5, right? If it's like extra fast, then you have trouble. But that deck can get to a point where it doesn't even need the pirate's life. You can get to 19 lore, and it will just stop you from being able to get any more lore for the rest of the game, while also drawing all of the cards in their deck, and then also setting up and getting a 1-turn win. So, I think the mana one's a little easier to play. I think that one has a little better matchup spread into things like aggro or some of these more mid-range decks where you do have to play the items list at a much higher skill level in order to be able to navigate some of the decision points and get past sort of turn that corner, if you will, and be able to control the game and get to that point where you can just sort of insta win.
Yeah.
I've been playing the items version of Ruby Sapphire a bunch. I really like that list. It's a lot of fun. It draws way more, in my opinion, than the Ruby Sapphire Manor build. But I do think the Manor build might be a little easier to play into something like our local meta game, where you will see a little bit more aggro or hyper aggro, and you won't see as many later game control decks. Like I said, I originally was predicting less Ruby Sapphire in the meta, and more discard and more Amber Steel and more of these sort of mid-range early game hyper aggro stuff. And the Ruby Sapphire we did see was largely mana based, I believe. It's listed in Inkdex here as burn. So I personally feel confident in the Manor v Manor mirror matchup. And so I'm just kind of thinking, Manor is probably the better one to run now, with the assumption that there's less items builds out there, and you are going to have to face some aggro or some, more aggressive mid-range lists like Steel Song.
Yeah. I definitely think you're right in the sense that the Ruby set. I currently have been playing the items list, and it is certainly harder to play. And I mean, I'm still trying to like navigate myself around it, and I think I feel comfortable. Although I didn't beat Brad tonight, that I think I could get it in a position to beat the Blurple much more consistently. Where I really find that deck struggles a lot, though, is in the is the hyper kind of aggro decks.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the first deck he played me tonight was Ruby Amber.
It just goes it goes too fast. I also I wonder what your thought is to say that I do. Do you think maybe the Manor version of Ruby Sapphire is weaker, or which one do you think is weaker? I guess against like a discard deck.
I think they're both pretty.
Or do you think they're about the same?
Weak. I think they're both really weak to the discard in general.
I agree.
I tend to think maybe the items list has a better shot at it, simply because they have a much stronger. The answer before for Ruby Sapphire when it got discarded out was to top deck a Hiram, right? Hiram gets them back into the game immediately. Very hard to remove. Whereas now there isn't really that mechanic, so you kind of have to get the workshop down early, and then if you're sort of discarded out, then top decking a Popsicle doesn't just replace itself, right? Like in the Manor list, you top deck a Popsicle. All that really means is you get another card, right? Pay one to get a different top deck card.
You know what a lot of people are doing now is throwing in that carpet bag.
Carpet bag is very nice, yeah.
Was that your item in the quest thing that we did? It wasn't really like optimized yet, where we didn't know. But it's an easy draw one every time. As long as you have a Popsicle in the discard, you're paying 2 ink for your Popsicle now instead of 1. But that carpet bag brings it back, and then you get that free draw that you otherwise wouldn't have. That.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of value in Merlin's carpet bag if you can which I think is hard to do, but if you can especially pay for it for free with the Tamatoa questing. I mean, obviously you want to be in a more items build, you want to be hoping to get something like the, dime or something. But
Yeah, the carpet bag is basically like a not a friend's, finders keepers.
Yeah.
It occupies a very similar slot to that, where you have
Except
this
it's
5
uninkable.
ink. You are taking a turn off to, establish a draw engine of some sort. Finders keepers obviously drawing 3 cards right then and there, but you're paying 5 ink, getting the carpet bag down, which allows you to then get this continued draw engine of 1 popsicle essentially every turn.
Yep.
It's a great card. The burn version plays 1. I don't think the items version plays any at all.
I don't think so
doesn't.
either.
No.
But without a carpet bag, which is usually only 1 of in the burn version, the item version has a much better chance statistically to be able to come back from being discarded, I guess. But neither of them are great. Personally, I am testing out again the Candy Lady that I played last set with Ruby Sapphire Manor version at the 4-drop slot, which was a 4-cost uninkable rush 3/3 gains evasive until the start of your next turn when played.
Yeah, on play. Yeah.
So it would take out it'll take out a Diablo as quick as you possibly can with this list. Other than I guess maybe like a Brawl. But it's another option. The uninkability kind of stinks, but yeah, this card's really, really rough, and I hate
I
it.
honestly think that's probably these decks. I mean, that's one of the things that's really surprised me in the fact that we're seeing so much Ruby Sapphire is that it does seem that Ruby Sapphire is uniquely positioned to be weak against hyper aggro decks and discard decks, but yet still finding success. And I wonder if that's just because we're not seeing as many of those hyper aggro decks in the meta, or discard decks. I mean, we've seen a few, but like you really are making
that's
a
why
play
cards
for
like
the
Pirate's
local
Life
metagames.
exist, is because when hyper aggro was in its prime after set 4, 5, whenever Daisy came out, set 5, I guess. A Pirate's Life was there to balance that out for Ruby Sapphire, who takes a while to get the engines going, I guess. While you saw tonight, I'm just putting down 2 questers my first 3 or 4 turns, and then suddenly you're down, 14-0, before you can actually wipe my board and start taking over. And then if I can continue putting that pressure on, you need something to balance that out.
I mean, it's hypercritical in a deck like the Ruby Sapphire items to get your draw engine going, to get that.
Does the items version run Pirate's Life even? I don't think it does.
It doesn't. No.
Typically
and then what was actually surprised me when I did the deck list for Saturday, this is just on me for not being as knowledgeable with the current meta decks of just anything, was that I would have played several turns differently against Justin in game 1 when it was like 19-2, like when that game was in my hands and I couldn't close the deal. I would have played so many turns differently if I didn't know that I wasn't playing around Be Prepared. He only had 1 in the deck the entire time in the items deck, and I was
items decks only has 2 usually at most.
Yeah, and if I would have known, if I in my head, if I would have thought to myself, oh, items deck only usually runs 1 or 2, I would have committed more to the board on several turns and taken that down. So it's, I don't know.
Ed at Worlds, do you remember how many B preps he had in his item list? Famously,
it was 0. It was 0. Yeah.
They were talking about it on stream. He has 0 B prepares in there. So what happened was everyone had 2 because they had like 3 or 4 big Sisus because of the coil in there. And then people were like, okay, well, we could do like 2 B preps. And then Ed was like 0 B preps. I am the B prep purist. And then they were like, okay, well, how close can we get to Ed level of B preps, right? And just change it to 1 B prep or 0 B prep. So
I mean, I think it's a good strategy as long as you can get the coils out. And that's where, this is where I actually think that deck becomes hard to play, is because what makes the deck really challenging is to know when to play certain items based on the matchup that you're playing against, so that you can better sequence things. It's like, do I want to be developing, assuming you're drawing those cards, right? But the
Right.
great thing about, I think, both Ruby Sapphire decks is with things like Visions and, Sail, and Popsicle, you can often dig through your deck to find what you need. Although it is frustrating when you can't do that. But it's like, do I want to play something like, the Merlin's Workshop now, or do I play
Carpet bag.
the, yeah,
Oh,
do I play Coil so that when I ink, I can get more.
Maurice's workshop, not Merlin's workshop. That's why I was confused.
Yeah, that's what Maurice's
You said
Workshop.
Merlin's
Sorry.
workshop, and it's like, you mean carpet bag? And then I was like, wait, no, he means workshop, but that doesn't
Yeah, I
belong to
do mean
Merlin.
Workshop. Yeah, I know. It's too much. It's too much. But to ink so that you can then play something like Sisu or a Medusa to get more impact for what you're playing on board. So kind of playing around those things, I think, is can be a challenge. Whereas I do think the more burn quote unquote version of Ruby Sapphire has much more straightforward play lines. They're not near, I mean, I still think, it's a Ruby Sapphire has always been a harder deck to play, but I think it has less decision points than the items version does.
I think it's that early and early mid game decks will like require a very specific set of answers from both decks. However, for Ruby Sapphire Manor, that specific answer is be prepared, and the answer is to get it in your hand and ramp all the way to it as fast as possible, right?
Right.
Whereas with Toby,
For the audio listeners, my new kitten is spunky right now and running all over the place.
So cute.
But whereas with like Big Sisu and the items list, you need not only the removal answer, but Vince is also right. You also need the coil, sometimes more than one coil, sometimes more than one way to ink instead. And so there's a lot of there's a lot more powerful tools, but it takes a lot more pieces of the puzzle. And so against these early and early mid game decks, those first like 5 to 6 turns become a very, very, very difficult puzzle to math out and to calculate which, like Vince said, which items to play when and how to ramp where and be able to take out which characters at the right time. Whereas the manor ramp, be prep, play manor.
Yeah.
Play 2 more manors, be prep a couple more times.
Yeah.
Threaten a shark.
I would honestly say, going back to your question earlier, I prefer the items deck, I think, just because I can get my ball, the manor is a lot harder to deal with, I think, than the I know my turns become a lot less. Like there's a timer like a big timer that hits, in the late game where, you're watching that Tamatoa. They have enough ink to just play Tamatoa and dime cleanly. So, I think I'm better at getting with Blurple specifically, as anybody listening knows, that's what I primarily play. I'm better at getting my stuff going and getting close to the win against that deck than I am against Manners most of the time. I have beaten Manners before, mostly with Jaflurple, but it's lately
Get
the
outta
items
here.
deck is the one that I forgot one of them was you. But like last night, literally, or Monday night at game night, I had a practice game against Ron with the Hades in the deck instead of the Cuscos. And I kid you not, if I would have drew an Inkable on turn 5, where I could have played the Hades, or turn 6, one of the two, because I had 2 or 3 characters on board. I knew he was coming up to a board wipe here shortly, and I would have gotten the game-winning lore there. I lost that game by like 2 lore, and I just couldn't get the Hades down, to get that extra lore where I was just trying to get as much as done possible because I know the game's on a timer. But And that's also situational. Like, I'm not advocating run the Hades. It was something I was just testing out. But
the manner also poses like a threat assessment question to your opponent that you kind of brought up here, Brad. You said you feel like it's easier to play against the items, and so it's easier to just get in your zone, ignore them because they're ignoring you, and just play your game plan and hope you win. Whereas with the manner, one thing we see, a very common thing is like the manner is like this cat toy, right? It is, you, Brad, are trying to do your game plan, and then you're just like, oh wait, should I swing my genie and my crab and my fox into this manor to take it out? No, you shouldn't. You should quest for 4 lore. That's twice as much as the manor would get. Like, so sometimes it can mess with your threat assessment and just become like sort of this thing for people that sometimes I'm just like, here, I'm gonna put a manor out and let you play with that for a little while. Next thing you know, be prepared.
Maybe I've just been laser focused too, because just in the last 30 seconds, I remember that Cusco can also target the manor and not just the Maurice's workshop and dime. When I'm thinking about Cusco, I'm thinking about the items, but then I'm like, duh, he can take out the manor too, or put the manor in the inkwell as well. So maybe Cusco's the play. I need more 6-drops than
the
just
Cusco is not the play.
No.
Well, we talked a lot about Ruby Sapphire. The other big deck in the meta is Amber Steel, and I think one of the main reasons this card is still so great came out in set 1. Do we want to get on to our villain of the week?
Let's get on to villain of the week.
Who's doing it?
Apologies to Gantu.
All hail.
From the first chapter, Ariel, spectacular singer, 3-cost inkable, and Amber, storyborn hero princess. 2 strength, 3 willpower, quests for 1, singer 5, and the ability is musical debut. When you play this character, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a song card and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Art by Alice Pisoni.
So just for the people who didn't get that, this is Fish Lady. Fish Lady sing big. Fish Lady find song. Fish Lady whole new world. Okay, I just wanted
Fish Lady
to translate
that. A card like from the get-go. This is how I met Ron. Like, I didn't know much about the game yet, and I remember meeting him up in Fortuna, probably my second time ever being there, meeting this person I talked to on Discord. Like, oh, he plays Lorcana, let's go check it out. He hits me with his Steel Song chapter 1, and I just watch this Fish Lady do her work. Always just coming out, finding a song, and then just cruising the deck all the way to 20 lore with.
Can I tell you something about Fish Lady though?
Sure.
When your opponent plays Fish Lady, always finds a song. When you play Fish Lady, you never find a song.
That is true. The worst part is that like Fish Lady finds a song and then they have to show it to you. So they're just like,
haha, look what I got.
Like, a whole new world. And they're like, you're not going to be able to do anything. And then you're just like, oh no, this is what has to happen to me next turn. Like, I'm,
Or, I mean, given some of the tools that Amber Steel has gotten, they could pull a card and use another character to sing it. It's like we've got things like Troubadour. We've got
Cindy.
Cindy.
What's that?
Cindy.
Yeah,
Cindy, Turtle Boy, Ariel.
Everything
1, 2,
has
3.
The Rhino shift line.
So turn 1 Cindy, turn 2 Ariel, turn 2 Turtle Boy, turn 3 Ariel, bind the
Zeus.
No, finds the
strength
horizon
off the top. Sings both characters. Then the Cindy and the Turtle then sing the horizon. Your opponent's dropped 3 cards. The following turn, you hit him with the "You have forgotten me," and you just say, "GG's."
Yeah, that's a whole amalgam of all the chapters combined, just to get you down to 0 cards on turn 3. It's disgusting.
But
this
turn 4 is what I like to call brawl on site. Easy, just brawl
you guys
on site.
on the stream, I played Eddie on Sunday, and I made a fatal mistake of moving the damage from one character, or from I think Lewis, to a Diablo that was just played to the Ariel that was sitting there unexerted or whatever. And I wasn't worried about her at the time. This is really niche or whatever, but because the other three characters could sing Under the Sea, but then the bounce that would have existed from and I'm getting too much into it. Ariel is like the target. Like when she's out there, the Singer 5 and plus whatever sing togethers or whatever, she's just too powerful. She finds you the song, she sings you the song, and you got to deal with her. She is instant brawl, like Andy said.
We are going way back though, from a first chapter card that is still super playable, like super auto include. So my question is, does she get reprinted?
That's what I was going to say. I'm glad we brought her in this late too, because she's always been a powerful card in the meta from the beginning. But I don't think she survives rotation.
Singer 7's already being rotated. Is already being reprinted. So
yeah, Singer 7's in the new single player decks, and I think that they're focusing on ways to play some of these other cards. I mean, she's good. She's a Singer 7. Is she 4 cost? I think she's 4 cost Ariel, but like she's a bigger singer Ariel, but she doesn't find you a song, so they're taking things like this card that finds you a song most of the time, I guess, at least when your opponent plays her, and and taking that ability away from it, but making you the player find other ways to utilize the singer ability with other songs out there.
I don't know if this card gets reprinted, but I do think a card with this ability gets reprinted. It gets printed.
Oh, you think so? Yeah, that's possible. Yeah,
like maybe a 4 cost inkable card.
I can see
or just an action.
Well, we have items with Scuttle and Scrooge.
Yeah.
We have characters with Be Our Guest and Madrigal or other ones and stuff. But so I agree with Vince. I definitely think we should have a look at the top 4, reveal a song, and get to keep it. I just don't know that this particular card gets to live on.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But let's talk about the artist. Very prolific in Lorcana here. 42 cards, 3 enchanted. We have the Minnie Mouse, the Olaf, and the Alice. And also, we had a little argument earlier, like whether or not this counted as an enchanted or not. But I say it doesn't. The one DLC promo, the Cinderella Stouthearted.
Card. I feel like if there's a shiny version of it, that it's enchanted. Right?
Doesn't have my argument here is it doesn't have the enchanted.
Yeah.
But you know what? Whatever.
Does the D23 set have the enchanted?
Tell us in the description, in the comments. Not in the
Is this card enchanted?
Do you count the Cinderella, the Cusco, the Baymax? Do you count those as enchanteds, or are they just DLC promo cards? Let us know. Who's right and who's wrong?
She does have a lot of good cards here. She's got
like Diablo.
We've definitely talked about her before, because Diablo is on this list. The You Have Forgotten Me that Andy just mentioned is a mean card too. That she's an artist of.
Anything?
I'm going to zoom in on Toby so much.
The new Rapunzel, new legendary Rapunzel, the Queen of Hearts that does damage on play, or when characters are played. I have a lot of fun with that card.
You forgot about Madame Mim Fox.
Madam Mim Fox. I do need to get signed by her, because I'm working on getting every legend or every Sword in the Stone foil signed, which remind me on Saturday. I got to give one of you guys my Enchanted Archimedes for GenCon.
If you're there, Alice, if you're out there, let us know where, send Brad a signed Mim Fox.
Also, most importantly, for Rules of Villainy history here, the Playful Sorcerer Mickey Mouse that we got from Ryan Miller to give away to the community is also Alice's card.
Yes.
And one more. Oh yeah, Bagheera's a good one too. She has a Rule of Villainy under her belt in the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Let's go
from set 3. Sorry.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, let us know your thoughts on Villain of the Week. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you're joining us on audio, which if you are, I'm sorry, my microphone not working great. We'll try to figure that out. But please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Yes, thank you. You lone Pandora listener.
And if you're joining us on YouTube, which if you're not, you're missing Toby, the cutest cat in the whole world. So you should definitely come over here and check it out. Be sure to like, subscribe, Deck Test Tuesday, meta reports, live streams. Check it all out here.
Great.
Yeah. And we understand your time is valuable, so if you would like... Sorry, Toby just jumped off me again. We understand your time is valuable, so we appreciate you spending a little bit of it with us. If you would like to follow along as we plot our devious plans, consider following us on our socials. We're on Instagram, Blue Sky, and the platform formerly known as Twitter @RulesOfVillainy. We also have a growing community on Discord in which you can join with the link in the description.
Until next week, stay safe, fellow villains. Be wary of wannabe kittens named Toby, who want to disrupt your villainous plans. And as always, remember the rules of villainy.